Hi, we have looked at how to use Prisma with Postgres, but we haven't looked at how to use Prisma with MongoDB, so I thought we'll have a look at that first. So we're here in our previous project here where we used Mongoose, and it's still a normal JS file, so let's just change that so that we can install TypeScript. So we install TypeScript as a dev dependency, and we install TS Node, and we install NodeMon, and let's have a look what we have here. We have Express already, but we don't have .env, so let's start with those. There, so you can see there I installed as dev dependencies, and let's change this one to a TS file. There, and you can see that these are underlined, so I also need to install the these are underlined, so I also need to install that. The types there, add types // express there. And you can see that these are the errors that we have dealt with before. So I'm quickly going to change that, and I'll be back with you in a second when I've done that. So there, so now you can see that I'm catching the error of instance error with a respond with the status of 500 and send the error.message, and the rest is the same. And I did it 5 times. Okay, so we now also need to install everything that needs to do with Prisma. So let's get back to the terminal and clear this out. So we type in npm install Prisma and Prisma client. And we do npx Prisma init. Now it has initialized our Prisma project, and we can see that it has created a schema here, but it's not fully correct. So let's update this. So all we need to do is we want to say that this is not a PostgreSQL, but this is a MongoDB provider that we're going to use. Then we have the database URL, and we need to add the link that we have in here, this one. So we're going to say touch.env for environment, and in here we don't want this one here. Instead, we want this one in there. Now we want to remove the output here, and we want to remove it so the client is published to the @prisma-client. Then this is correct, and then let's also create the model. And in here, so we're going to change this in a minute, we have the item schema, and this is our schema. So we're going to say model item, and what we have is we have an ID, we know that, name and quantity. So we have an ID, which is a string. Remember, add ID, and then we write down add map underscore ID at default, and we want to auto increment there, and then we want to write down add db dot object ID. I'll go over this in a second. Then we have a name, which is a string, and we have the quantity, which is an int. There. So this add ID here marks this field here as the primary key for the model. Then this part here, the add map underscore ID, this maps the Prisma field ID to the actual MongoDB field underscore ID. So this one here, underscore ID. And if we would not do that, let me go back. So without this, Prisma would try to create a separate ID field in MongoDB, which of course isn't what we want. And then we have the add default auto, and this specifies that the value of the field is automatically generated by the database. So we don't do it, as you saw before, it's automatically generated. And then this last part here, add db.objectID. This tells Prisma that this string field, so this string field, corresponds to MongoDB's object ID type. So what Prisma does is that it stores it as a string in our code, but in a database it's actually an object ID. So this ensures compatibility when we're acquiring, updating or deleting documents by the underscore ID. Okay, so again you can see here that this is an object, and we said it's an NoSQL database. Now let's go back to our index.ts file here, because there are some things here that we do not need anymore, and some things we need to add. So here, this import mongoose, we don't need this anymore here, but instead we can say we need the Prisma client from the Prisma client. Then we can take away all of this here now. So there, we don't need any of that, and we don't need this one there. Instead we need to say const Prisma equals new Prisma client. Now let's also do the following. We're going to say Prisma, and then we're going to say dot connect, and what do we want to do when it's connecting is we're going to say logger dot info, because we're still using Winston here as well. And I see this all needs to be in brackets there. And we can say connected to MongoDB with Prisma. And we can also catch and we have the logger dot error, and I'm going to say error, and then we're going to say Prisma connection error, and that is going to be the error there. And I'm just going to write this one as an unknown for now. Unknown. So, okay. Let's try this out for a second here. Clear. And we need to generate, of course, because we have the schema here, but we need to generate this. and then we'll see how far we get. So I'm going to say npx Prisma generate, enter. And did I install did I forget to import the client? Let's see here. Let's have a look. Let me do it again. Let's see what happens then. npm install add Prisma client. npx Prisma generate. No, same error. Let me have a look. There was actually nothing wrong because it generated it properly. So I was worried about nothing. And here there's an error here. There should be a little $sign in front of it. Okay. I also went into the .env file here, or actually in the package.json here, and I wrote nodemon index.ts there. So now I can do npm run dev, and you can see that it's all working with Prisma. Great. But, and I'm just going to stop the server again, we have errors. And it says here, I cannot find item. Do you mean items? And that is because we have not fixed these ones yet. So let's do that now. So we need to change this here, this line, only this line here, to, and we can still say const items. So only what's after the equal sign we have to change. And we use the Prisma syntax for that. So we say prisma.item dot, and now we want to get all the items, right? So we're going to say find many, just like we did with Postgres. There. Then we have another one here. This one here. So we're not going to use that line, but we're going to use the same here, new item equals, and here we're going to say await, because it might take a while, and it's then Prisma dot item dot create, and what it's going to create is the data, and it's going to take the name and the quantity from the request.body. So we also need to, let's see here, we don't need this await then. So there, and you see here we've been working with the request.body, but we're going to write it slightly different now. So instead we're going to say there const, and here we're going to say the name and the quantity from the request.body. There. Okay, so this all works. I just noticed, by the way, this was underlined a minute ago, like this. Even though I was like, what is wrong? But then I found out that I had written quantity here. So I fixed it, and I wrote npx Prisma generate again. So I got rid of that problem there. Then I also added await here, because these things take a while. So the rest stays the same for now there, and we go into put here, and we're going to get rid of this line here, there, and instead I'm going to say const updated item equals await Prisma dot item dot update there, and in here now we're going to say where, what have I done wrong here? Where, and then we take the ID from the requested params, and we're going to say data, and that is going to be the updated data from the requested body there. Then we go down to the delete here, and again here we're going to say const deleted item equals await prisma dot item dot delete, where, and this time I only need to take care of the ID from the colon. I only need to take the ID from the requested params. Now at this point I'm actually not going to use the Docker file here because it's a bit painful with the Prisma, so I'm just going to get rid of that one there, which means we need to update this one to another one. So let's go to this website here, there, to MongoDB, and I'm going to sign in here and there. I need to send a code to myself. Let's see, send code, and I need to check this. 887 815. And now I'm in, and let's have a look at my project overview here. I'm going to actually I've just created this new project here, so you can also create a new one here. Create cluster, and I want to use the free tier there. So I'm just gonna, for now, leave everything the way it is there. Now make sure to copy your username and password. And set up your security permission. So I'll do that there. Choose a connection method. And what we'll see here is we're going to use MongoDB in Visual Studio Code. And we're going to copy this one here. There. And I'm going to click on done. And I'm going to overwrite that one here for this. There we go. Okay. I'm going to say npm run dev. And we're going to see if we can get all the items here. And it's going to give us this error here, where it says here, empty database name not allowed. So let's add the database name to our MongoDB. And we go into our cluster here, create database, and I'm going to call this sample database, or maybe Prisma database. So Prisma database. And for now I'm going to call this the same. And create database. There we go. Let's also go and change the string for our connection. So we go back into our Prisma MongoDB, and we are going to, let's have a look, get connection string here. So I'm actually going to use this one here, copy, go back into my code, and overwrite this one that I just had. And in here, I'm going to say Prisma DB, right? Is that the name? Was that the name of the database? Let's see. Prisma DB. There we go. Okay. So that's what I want. There. Question mark there. Save. And pm run dev. Now let's see if this works. Oh, I forgot the authentication, the password. This one here needs to be replaced with what I had. And paste there. Let's try again. Maybe I need to restart. And send. And now we're good. So we can say apples 25. We can say oranges 250. Let's get all of them. Send. And we're getting all of them. Let's check the database here. And when you click on item, you can see that they have all come in as well. Great. So this all works now. So don't use it with the Docker. Don't use Prisma MongoDB with Docker. Actually create, go into MongoDB and create your database in there. So now we can also quickly look at the error logs here. You can see that the error logs are all logged, and it's the same with the combined errors. So all the errors that you can deal with are logged all in one place. Here, for example, was an error about the database. See? Here's when I was playing around to see if I can use the MongoDB with Docker, which was a bit painful. So it's better to move away from Docker when you're using Prisma and just use the online database, which you want to do anyways because you would like to publish your application in the end. Here it was about the quantity that I misspelled quantity. Let's see, here was an authentication, I forgot the key. Here's an error here about the empty database that I forgot to add to in here. So I forgot to create a database, and I also had to name it in here. So great. So now we have Prisma with TypeScript, Winston for logging, and Prisma with its model here. So that is all for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it and that you can use now Prisma together with MongoDB and enjoy that. See you next lesson.